This is bcd-W Current. I'm Paul. 2 days before I closed the East Asia base camp, I had an evening free. I went to see The Odyssey. Coming out of the cinema, I walked about 20 minutes back to where I was staying. The street was dark, the lamps were sparse, it was quiet. And I thought it was lovely. I don't walk like that in Seoul. I don't walk like that in New York. I walked like that because it was Jeju. 2 mornings later, I'm in a project meeting, and the people on the other side of the screen start telling me the news. Missing person reports closed without anyone checking. Searches restarted, people being found. And from that moment, Jeju was a dangerous place to me. Nothing changed in Jeju between that night and that morning. Nothing happened to me on that street. What changed was what I knew. And I want to be honest about the next part. I will not walk that street the same way again. You can show me the statistics, it won't help. So let's start there, because the statistics are actually fine. Jeju resolves more than 99% of missing person reports. The number of reports has been going down, not up. By the numbers, this is not a dangerous place. The failure was somewhere else entirely. One officer could close a case and there was no layer that checked the judgment. Reports closed without anyone confirming anything were counted as resolved. So the 99% isn't a lie, it's just that nobody ever established what it proves. And that's where this stops being a story about Jeju. Cities publishing safety numbers from systems nobody verifies, that's not rare. Jeju is just where somebody happened to look. Here's the thing about travelers, though. They were never reading the numbers. Travel decisions aren't risk calculations, they're uncertainty avoidance. Nobody computes the odds of something happening to them in a particular city. What they do, in about a second, is ask a different question. If something happened to me here, would this city come looking? The first question you can answer with data. The second one, you can't. And that's why a safety crisis always outlasts the actual danger. Prices can be lowered, trust cannot. So how have other cities dealt with this? 6 of them, and each one got a different part of it. London fixed the record. Britain's answer is basically one sentence. Closing a case is not one person's decision. If a report doesn't become a formal missing person record, it has to be closed with a specific code, and the guidance says why, so that everything filed under nothing to see here can be pulled up and audited later. Some forces go further. If you haven't found the person, you can't close the log at all without creating a record first. Authority to discontinue sits with senior management. Risk assessments get endorsed by a duty inspector. Unidentified bodies go to the national unit within 48 hours. What's still open? The audit is annual, and it's a sample. Does that catch someone deliberately falsifying records in time? Shanghai went the other direction entirely. It treated safety as a problem of seeing. One district, Shanghai, tripled its facial recognition network, roughly 175 cameras per square mile. Officials estimated the system would analyze 25.9 million faces a day. That's about 19,000 people every minute, and the cameras are the small part. It was built to mine files on more than 50 million residents and flag behavioral deviations. China runs an estimated 170 million cameras. They once pulled a wanted man out of a crowd of 60,000 at a concert, and it does not find missing people. Le Monde reported this in April. The system responds almost instantly to minor infractions, e.g. someone crossing a line, running a light on a scooter, near instant fines. On missing persons, it doesn't deliver. That's not a limit of the technology. Surveillance reflects what a city has decided to look for. It doesn't tell a city what it should be looking for. Mumbai built half of the right thing. In India, you can run a missing person search yourself on a national portal against a database that holds missing people and unidentified bodies side by side. That's genuinely more than most places have. But if you want to know what happened to a report you filed, you have to file a fresh complaint at the same station or submit a right to information request. So citizens can see who is missing. They cannot see what's being done about the person they reported. For that, you petition the state. Searchability got built. Traceability didn't. Nobody has built it. Paris is the only city here with a timetable. After November 2015, visitor arrivals dropped by roughly half. Across 2016, the region lost over €1 billion, 12 straight months of decline. Then it came back. January 2017 was a 10-year high. The first half of that year was the strongest in a decade. But the useful part isn't the speed, it's the asymmetry. Domestic spending barely moved and was fully back within 12 months. Foreign visitors took much longer and unevenly. By early 2017, Belgian, Spanish and Swiss arrivals had returned. British numbers were still down 3%, Chinese down 6%, Japanese down 19%. And recovery ran faster in provincial France than in Paris itself. The closer you are, the sooner you come back. The further away, the longer it takes. That's distance in kilometers and distance in information. Because to someone far away, a city exists only as news. Which is exactly what happened to me. I was in Jeju. The news reached me through a screen. Bogotá made perception measurable. Reported theft down 18%. Residential burglary down 26%. And 58% of residents still say they don't feel safe. On the transit system, more police were deployed, actual safety improved, and 60% of riders still perceive it as unsafe. Part of the reason showed up in the survey itself. About half the crime information residents get comes from television, and there were documented cases of incidents that happened in Brazil months earlier reported as though they'd happened in Bogotá. What Bogotá did was refuse to leave perception unmeasured every 6 months. 8,200 residents, 19 localities, 3% margin of error. Very few cities manage safety as a perception indicator and not just a crime statistic. Measuring the gap worked, closing it hasn't. And then Mexico City, which isn't a solution, it's a destination. More than 135,000 people registered missing, more than 230 victims collectives, and the most trusted searchers are no longer state institutions. They're the families. The mothers develop their own field method, disturbed soil, insects that shouldn't be there, a patch of unusually green vegetation. Recently that reversed once. Jalisco's State Search Commission started giving that knowledge scientific backing. The head of the commission said it directly. The work started from what the mothers knew, and what the state added was technical support for something already proven in the field. The cost is severe. 8 searchers murdered across 2022 and 2023. An Amnesty survey found 97% had experienced violence or harm while searching. So put the 6 together. London fixed the record. Shanghai maxed out observation. Mumbai opened access halfway. Paris measured time. Bogotá measured perception. Mexico City shows what's left when all of it fails. Nobody solved the whole thing, and nobody has combined them. What's needed isn't another policy. It's somewhere to test one together. A city with countable points of entry and exit, where an experiment can actually be measured at a scale where failure is survivable. Last weekend's edition laid out those conditions. Jeju has all 3. So here's the proposal, and it's where the next edition picks up. Prototype number 2. Tamna, a safety hackathon, practitioners and developers from 6 cities, each bringing the problem they couldn't solve at home, designing together in Jeju. Not a report. Working prototypes. Report status visible to the person who filed it. Closure verification with alerts. Perception instrumentation that runs more often and costs less. Early detection that doesn't depend on cameras. If Jeju hosts that, Jeju stops being the city where something became known. It becomes the city where the world works on it. That's a kind of trust no campaign can buy. This has been bcd-W Current. One city, one story, many views.